Boss battles are a staple of video games. They've been around almost as long as games themselves have been around, and they've been created for two purposes: testing a player's skill and mixing things up. Both of these are good qualities in a boss battle, and have created many unique bosses. Then there's the bosses that completely suck. Some of them look like they could have been cool, but they weren't programmed right, and others just had no potential from the beginning. So since I'm starting to get into countdowns more, I'm going to talk about the top 10 boss battles that frustrated me the most and tarnished the game's previous reputation. You know, this might be the most straightforward list I've done yet. What can I say about The Binding of Isaac that so many others haven't already? It's a very fun, very well-made religious allegory that's very addictive due to the randomized dungeons. Similar to Diablo, the game is different each time you start a new game. New power-ups, new rooms to explore, and new bosses to fight. Something I really love is how creative and fun each boss is. Each time you fight it, it's quite a thrill. And then you have War. The one word I'd use to describe the fight with this guy is dull. The first phase consists of him occasionally dashing out of the screen and dropping troll bombs in random places. Stepping out of the range is easy, but they're placed so closely that the blast will send them in all sorts of directions, so it's not just as easy as running away. You can take quite a bit of damage even if you do your best to make sure you won't get hit. After you damage him enough, he'll get off his high horse and start charging after you. He runs slightly faster than you do, but just when he's about to hit you, he randomly spews blood tears in 8 directions. You'd think that would be almost impossible to dodge due to the close proximity, but the firing pattern is so odd that they never hit you. It's rare for a boss battle to be so unfair yet so easy at the same time, but the biggest problem comes with the fact that if you have a certain item, you will lose the game instantly. If you do poison damage to War, when he charges off screen, he will never come back. So you have to start an entirely new game, where you might end up having to face this terrible boss all over again. Doom 3 is actually my favorite game in the Doom franchise. While I do love the feel of the earlier games, I appreciate how many risks they took with this game and how much they pay off. The shooting is good, the environments are cool, and the atmosphere is chilling. The only part I didn't like was the boss battles. Bosses have never been that strong in Doom to begin with, but that still doesn't excuse how disappointing the Cyberdemon was. Now, picture this scenario. You're a space marine, whose allies have all been slaughtered by Hell itself. After killing all of Hell's greatest warriors, you then invade Hell yourself and fight its ultimate defender. What do you picture? Well, I bet it certainly wasn't running around in circles bumping into enemies that randomly appear. That's largely what this fight is. Just running away from the Cyberdemon, firing rounds at it and whatever enemies that appear, hoping to kill enough baddies so you can use the Soul Cube for extra damage and healing. However, the Soul Cube doesn't instantly kill the boss here unlike the rest of the game, so you won't even know at first if it's working. So you just go back to running around and shooting the Cyberdemon over and over again, and using the Soul Cube while praying that it works. And as it turns out, the Soul Cube is the only way to kill this boss. You'll end up using it so many times that when it finally does end up killing it, it will come as a complete shock. Rather than just feeling satisfied, you'll just be confused. Sorry, but I expect to feel some sort of accomplishment when I literally just killed Hell! After all this, can I at least get the feeling of a shiny gold sticker rather than the realization that they've already planned DLC? Throughout most of LEGO City Undercover, Rex Fury is built up as the ultimate criminal, your arch-rival who has escaped from prison and is out to wreck your life. You don't even see him all that much until the very end, and the first time you're about to duel with him, it right away looks like it's gonna be an epic fight. I mean, he's riding a giant robot T-Rex skeleton, and you have to battle him in what looks like a loader from Aliens. How can this not be awesome? Said the development team. How can we make this suck? Well, how about we make the combat incredibly boring? All this fight consists of is you picking up whatever objects are near you and throwing them at Rex to stun him. You then have to go into a quick time event to overpower him and throw him into a nearby power cell. and you only have to do this 3 times. The fight not only feels incredibly stiff, but incredibly underwhelming as well. There was so much build-up, and this is the best they could give us? Granted, the combat system of this game isn't that complicated to begin with, but they could have at least tried to make this entertaining. Now, as a part-time countdowner, I try to be fair. So, out of fairness, I'll talk a bit about the actual final encounter with Rex. Congratulations, Battle! You are not nearly as dull as the previous one. Gold sticker for you. Prototype is kind of like the sandbox game equivalent of Doom 3. Everything is awesome except for the boss battles. Here, though, it makes even less sense. Many FPS games don't have bosses at all, so it's understandable if a boss is included and it's lackluster. But Prototype is a game where you're the most powerful mutant who ever lived. Why would you squander opportunity like this? Easily the most dull boss in this game is Elizabeth Greene, another boss that should have been awesome due to the build-up, but was just lame. Elizabeth Greene mutates into this gigantic monster at the start of the battle, showing right away that this won't be a walk in the park. Her massive tentacles are the only parts of her body that can be damaged, but they will rapidly attack you and take away big chunks of your health if you get too close. The only convenient way to attack her is to retreat to a safe place, consume enough enemies to use a Devastator attack, use the Devastator on her tentacles, and then retreating back. And you have to do this about 3 times for each tentacle, so that's a total of 9 times. You can also pick up things and throw it at them, but because of how powerful her attacks are, that's a really stupid idea. And even if you do go for the Devastator route, you still have to worry about her strongest attack, which is OH MY GOD! This whole entire phase is boring. Prototype could have easily had some awesome boss battles, but it crushed the potential.
Crushed it into little tiny bite-sized pieces.
I can't believe they actually programmed this and thought this would be exciting. But hey, sequels are usually where they iron out the flaws of a game, so it can get better, right? As you may know, the final boss of Dead Space left something to be desired. Its attacks were easy to avoid, the weak points were obvious, and escaping its hold was not that difficult. You wanna know what's worse than making a final boss too easy though? Making it too cryptically hard. The whole battle with Nicole is designed to frustrate you. It's split into sections where you have to shoot at the illusion of your dead girlfriend, hoping to take her health down. It seems to do the trick when she temporarily dissipates and the background has a seizure. She then starts summoning shadowy necromorph children to try to overpower you and take you down. The children come at a very rapid rate, so you have to constantly back up and try to take as little damage as possible as you fire away. Or you back into Nicole and instantly die. Hooray. After several tries, you realize that this probably isn't doing anything, and you wonder what the heck the right strategy would be. So you head on down to IGN or GameFAQs and find this little bit of information out. You have to shoot the background. You have to shoot the background. You have to! How were we supposed to know this? Whenever I fought a tank in Left 4 Dead 2, I didn't think I would have to shoot the background because you wouldn't do that. Whenever I fought King Neptune in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, I didn't think I would have to aim my Sonic Rift at the background because you wouldn't do that. Whenever I fought Vladimir Lemon Max Payne 2, I didn't think I would have to aim at a prop because he wouldn't do that. And that was somehow still the strategy in that game! And apparently in the final battle of Dead Space 2 as well. Why would anyone think the skybox is a shootable object in the final battle of a game? It's designed to be the world of a game, not the target. Even if you can get past that odd design choice, this battle still sucks. The Necro Children will constantly come at you and force you to shoot them, but you still have to shoot Nicole in order to expose the weak spots, or you're going to take some hefty damage. Either way, it'll be frustrating. And let's not forget the fact that you shoot the fracking